Okay, I'm gonna do something a bit different for once. People have been asking me in my direct messages on Twitter, about my situation, and yeah, I guess it's a good idea. A bit mad that you guys are asking me questions but not following me. But let's see. Right off the bat, we've got Lewis, actually an old friend of mine. He lives in Missouri now. Knew him in 7th grade. Doubt if he remembers me, but he probably follows my other Twitter, the one I use for memes. Not going to tell you what that is because it's private. And that's probably how he found this Twitter anyway. But he asks if I know about the RAC file. I'm assuming that's stands for Reynolds, Agdal, Compton, Hamish. I don't know who the fourth guy's last name is, but that case. Yeah, not much though. Just what I found from that single website. In addition to that, Susan asked if I contacted John and Clarice. I'm assuming she's talking about the John and Clarice from the website, the editors of the website, the domain owners, if you will. No, I tried, but I could not find any John and Clarice elsewhere on the internet. I could not find contact information of them, even the source code. So no, no luck on that front. Janine El Amin, I hope I pronounced that right. Sorry if I butchered that. She asked a really simple question. I chose not to put too many simple questions, but in this video. But yeah, she asked about do I play any instruments? Sadly, no. I have been trying to teach myself guitar since I was 9, but my fingers don't fit around the neck of the guitar. So yeah, Andre Otieno, I also hope I pronounced Otieno right, asked about, this is another kind of simple question, but I chose to put this because it's relevant to the situation. He asked about my religion. Syncretic, I guess. Recently I read about the Raven, and well, you're not gonna believe me, but she started contacting me. Yeah. I did some research in a Joseph Campbell book called The Goddess, I believe. I'll put up a picture of it on screen in a bit when I edit this. But yeah, that's pretty much her religion. She's been helping out. Joanna Black asked about, she just put blue and then 2 question marks. I don't know what that question is. The color blue does seem to be relevant. I've been receiving a lot of blue items anonymously in the mail and stuff. None of those are too interesting, so I threw them away, donated them or whatever. But I will get to, at the end of, or in the second part of this video if it's too long, I will get to the stuff I've been finding in the Perg Shack. That's what I've been calling the shack out back of this abandoned house. I'm gonna get to that in a bit. And then Joe Hart, she asked about Norumbega, not Ronnie Norumbega, but Norumbega, the supposed Norse settlement. I've been doing extensive research into that. I do think it's related to this situation somehow. Not sure yet, but the closest I can find is there's this ruin in the woods of Maine called, well, the Wabanaki call it Chiwak Chimli. I'm sorry if I butchered that, but they claim they haven't made it. They claim it was there before their ancestors came to the area, so it's not too far a stretch to say that the Norse went down the St. Lawrence River, found the settlement, set up camp where there's already some structures and stuff, you know. I do think it's related somehow. I will keep an open mind about that. And then Cassandra asked about how Ronnie's doing. I'm not sure. He's kind of become more distant now. We stay in contact, but apparently Ronnie's memory loss only affects what he's already forgotten. He's not forgetting things anymore, but the rest of his family still very much is. So none of them remember Anthony, unfortunately. He's not doing too good because obviously it's a burden being the only family member to hold Anthony's memory. He told me he still wants to be in future videos and stuff, but this is taking a burden on him. It's taking a burden on all of us, really. Shouldn't say too much about this, but Michael hasn't been in the best mental state for a while now, even before Anthony, just because he's had a lot of paranormal experience in the past. Most notably, he mentioned the screaming lady while I am in the woods in Vermont. I'm beginning to suspect that he's not been completely honest with us because sometimes, we've had like a couple campouts in the woods. We can't really do that anymore because it's getting cold, but campouts in the woods, seeing if we can spot any monsters or whatever. And when he falls asleep, when one of us is on shift, we always say that he's talking in his sleep about the screamer. That's what he calls her, I think. I'm gonna address that later. But interesting fact, we learned recently that my Aunt Raria and Michael's dad, Rory, first of all, very similar names, but they were bank consultants at the same bank for a while until Rory moved to New Brunswick. Moved back to New Brunswick, I should say. Gret Toms asks about Andrew. I don't know who Andrew is. Is that the scientist dude? I think he's a scientist. Andrew Sumerian, I believe. First of all, that's just his first name, Anthony Sumerian, or Andrew Sumerian rather. His last name's Huang. He contacted me a while ago, said he would contact me later when the time is right or something like that. Don't know what he means by that, but he seemed to have information on Gareth Django Huang. Whoever has that family naming power should get a Medal of Honor, by the way, because those are both awesome names of awesomeness, as TV tropes would say. But I don't know who Andrew is, other than he claims to be Gareth Django's brother, and he contacted me once and supposedly has information on Gareth Django. Also, I would like to note that I looked them up both in the Yellow Pages, because this house still has never mind. It still has phone books in it, and I found both of them listed separately because they don't live together. They're brothers, not partners or anything. So they moved out of their parents' house a while ago, I guess, For all I know, one of them could still be living with. Anyway, they both live in the county. For all I can tell, they work for a gravel company. So I don't know why he has Gareth had that ID card for some science organization. I guess it's something covert. I probably. Oh, hi. Hi. I've named all the cats in this house. This one's I'll show you. This one is the cranky one. Her name is Sal. Wasn't too creative with the names. The dog already had a name. I'm currently forgetting what it is for some reason. But when I stole him from the Verns, he already had a name. Anyway, Hi. Hi, are you lonely? Would you like a cuddle? I'll give you a scratch in the head. Alright, so she's gonna be here for a bit. She's playing with the bag I've got. You'll see what's in that in a while. Ellen says, hike, question mark. And then, okay, hike, question mark. And then in an additional DM, she says, sorry, I meant, how did Michael get here? Someone's calling. One sec. That was Michael. He's still not doing so good. Not really gonna get into it right now. So yeah, Ellen, I don't think Ellen is from an English-speaking country, because her location just says Europe, doesn't say a country or a city. It just says Europe, and the way this question was worded is a bit odd. Not going to judge for that anyway. Lots of people don't speak English. I'm just saying that as a preface to say I don't know exactly what she's saying, but yeah, if you're asking if Michael hiked here, yes, he in fact did, on foot. So he lives in New Brunswick, right? He took a hike to a ferry, and then from the ferry he ferried across to Maine, and then he took a bus tour of Portland, and then he hiked all the way here, except for a couple of hitchhikes that he did, because he got off course a couple times, because on foot with a map is not the best method of finding where you are. That's how he ended up in Vermont in the first place. So yeah, I salute the guy for his incredible physical stamina. Gracefield asks about the history of Ronnie's house. Yeah, so we've been actually doing some research into that, in the town hall, local library, etc. They have town records there, and so as far as we can tell, there's nothing really notable about the first couple owners of the house. Pretty old house, so pretty much expected. But in I think in the 60s, let me check. I've got this on my computer. I actually got the history of the house right here. Nope. Barry, right. Barry was a kid who lived here, uh, I think in the 60s. Obviously, his parents lived here too. It would be weird if he was just living alone in this house. But he had hemophilia, um, and then he got tuberculosis. Don't know how you catch tuberculosis in the 60s, but maybe his parents were anti-vaxxers. Don't know. Anyway, according to the person claiming to be the Raven, I'm just gonna say that because I believe her, but I know some of you aren't going to. So the Raven said she gave him abilities. She doesn't really specify what that means, but unfortunately that made him a target, and some of the monsters started tormenting him, and this went on for a couple years. Pretty unfortunate. And then eventually he moved out, and then it was abandoned for a couple years, and then in the 70s, this guy, we can't find his name in any public records. I think his family got his identity erased from public records for pretty obvious reasons when you read about it. So we just call him Middleman because that's what Ronnie called him. Middleman. He was a hermit. Didn't really allow many guests or anything, or if he did, maybe he didn't have that many friends to come over. But he lived in the house after it was abandoned by Barry's family. He had some unspecified mental illness. Reading the symptoms, it seems like bipolar disorder to me. Pretty unfortunate life. He had 6 cats and 4 dogs. After a few weeks of him not, going to the store, ordering any pizzas or something, a store manager thought it was suspicious that he wasn't going to get groceries, so he called the police, and the police came into his house, and there's an unused room with the door locked, so they had to knock down the door. The house stunk, by the way. The cats and dogs were all starving. They were given to a pet shelter. 6 cats and 4 dogs, by the way. They found him strung by the wrist to the ceiling. Pretty disturbing, so you might want to skip this part. But yeah, he was strung by the wrists to the ceiling. There was a knocked over chair underneath him, and then red paint was used to paint runes all over the unused room. Because of his mental illness, the police wrongly assumed that he did this himself, but the autopsy found signs of struggle, so they didn't rule out foul play. Let's see. That was... Alright, sorry if I... that was, Gracefield. I forgot. The rest of the house history. After that, the people that owned the house before Ronnie's family and after Middleman were Tom. So Tom, we looked it up, and based on Michael's possession, we think it's the same guy. He owned the house from the late 70s to the 90s, and then in 98, Ronnie's family bought it from the town because he had moved out from then. we don't really know about Tom that much. He had a son named Ben. He moved there because his estranged wife was beating Ben. So yeah. Oh, also, Ben was found drowned in a bathtub. Um, a couple months before. Well, not a couple months before. Well, he was found drowned in a bath. He was found drowned in a bathtub. Um, the day after people went in to find Tom, who had disappeared, and they didn't find Tom's body until months later, in Maine. So that's pretty suspicious. I think this is definitely related. Alice says was I assume she means Tony was he killed by a hunting accident, or is this false? Well, that's what the police say. He was killed by a hunting accident, but I looked into the autopsy report myself, and he had a hole straight through his chest, all the way straight through into his back. So that doesn't seem like bullet activity to me. And also, it seems like a puncture wound based on how it is described. I took a forensics class in 9th grade, so I know a bit about this. Greg asks about the house I'm currently in. Yeah, this is a pretty weird place. It's like abandoned, but everything seems to be functioning. I still get mail. Based on the mail, I can assume that the last people who owned this house were the Kahn family. I looked into the house's history, and there's nothing, because there's no house listed at this address. There is a house listed downtown with the Kahn family, but the Kahn family supposedly went to vacation in Pennsylvania a while ago and then never came back. They're not missing people, mind you. They still live in Pennsylvania to this day, but they never returned to the house. So pretty weird circumstances. Dornell asks, who's Father Brixton? You don't have to worry about him. He's just some local cult nut. I think Sinclair, or Mira, as he's calling himself now, kind of like broke the guy, if you will. He was like a Christian fundamentalist. He had his own denomination and like a few devout followers, but like no one really took him seriously or anything. He's a pretty creepy guy. Yeah, he was like flat earther, creationist, New Earth creationist. Thought the Devil's Tower is a tree. Thought dinosaurs lived among humans and still live to this day. By the way, he thinks that. Not going to get into his political views, but yeah, he was a pretty bad guy. Not Gadby. That'd be weird. Daniel Chan asked about my neighbors. So far I've only met Stella. I've uploaded that video, and her husband and her daughter. Her daughter doesn't live with her, but sometimes she visits. And I've also I have neighbors named Katie and Eric. I've met them as well, but they don't have much information other than they jokingly say they think they saw something, and then Stella apparently took that seriously, which is why she told me to speak with them. But yeah, it doesn't seem like much. Mary asked about Cassie. She says, "Who is Cassie Bell? Do you know Cassie Bell? Are you involved in the same situation?" I don't know. No. We were not involved in the same situation. Similar situations, definitely, but I think anything paranormal is a similar situation nowadays. She actually reached out to me. For some reason, when you go to her reply to my tweet, it says that the tweet that she replied to is unavailable. That is not true because I can see the tweet that I tweeted, and it doesn't say that it's been like blocked or anything. It was just talking about the street performer back when I thought Dark was a street performer. And she says she's dealing with something similar. And I know for a fact that it's not saying her tweet is unavailable because I can read it. But she said we might be dealing with the same thing. I don't any longer think that's the same. I don't any longer think that's the case because I think something happened to Cassie. But no, we are not involved in the same thing. No, I have not met her in real life. No, we are not involved in any way but aside from being allies in a tough situation. I prefer not to talk about this. Mary, let's see what Mary asks. She asked about Gareth. We don't have to ask about Gareth, but she also asked about Lucas. Lucas Greensleeves, yeah, he's my friend. I don't want to bring him into this, but we might have to, unfortunately, because he does know about the situation. Mostly he's just making stuff for us. He actually helped me make the Tindalos detector that I mentioned. So this is the Tindalos detector. You might notice that it looks just like a battery tester, but we've modded it. So in the meetup video, you may have for some reason it thinks that's a face. It's not. But in the meetup video with Ronnie and Michael, we were using an app, but the app turned out to not be that accurate because it was just detecting electromagnetic frequencies and like other stuff. So we took the software. Well, I should say he took the software. He took the software and he tweaked it a bit so that it would detect Tindalos particles. By the way, very hard to do because Tindalos particles are very obscure. Not a lot of people know about them, just some like theoretical physicists and like as far as I can tell, there's one other group of people who has found out about Tindalos particles, but they're all dead now, and they called it something different. They called it Sigma. I'm not involved with those people either, so I'm not going to say who they are, but you can probably guess if you're literate enough on the internet. Yeah, Mary asks about Lucas. Yeah, he's a friend. He also made a multi-detector for like all sorts of things. That's in the house's bedroom, and it's really heavy, so I'm not going to bring it down here. Kyle, hi Kyle, I actually know Kyle as well. Kyle asks about Bloom Rain Man. Yeah, no idea who that guy is. He seems to be a helping hand, so I think it's a reasonable assumption that we should trust him. But he seems to be pretty mysterious as well. I have like 10% battery, so I'm going to run through these. He asks if I've run out of questions that people have asked me, so now I'm gonna cover some questions that I think are common enough that people will have them in their heads and just haven't asked them out loud yet. Have we reached out to anyone, we meaning me and Ron and Michael, regarding your situation? Yes. Um, the first guy, Jack Abatangelo, I don't know. Um, he lives in Arcadia, Connecticut. If you don't know where that is, it's kind of on the coast. But uh, he's not actually involved in anything paranormal right now. But he says he has a hunch that he will be. I don't know what that means. Uh, but he's one of Michael's contacts. Michael did a little roundtable discussion online, and he found a couple people. The other people are Gwyneth O'Reilly. She lives in Arkham, Massachusetts, and she's also not really involved in anything paranormal as of this moment. But she says that she is a clairvoyant, so we think she's a good team member, I guess. And then there's Karen Lucer. She's like 30 something. She's like probably the oldest person we have in our contacts about this place. She lives in Gale Ridge, Colorado. Probably also the farthest person we have in our contacts. But she says nothing personally has happened to her that's paranormal, but something happened to her friend in about early 2000s that she can't explain. And yeah, I don't really know what that's about, but we've contacted them. Oh, and there's one other person that I've contacted. Those three people Michael contacted, but I've contacted Alex Bloom. He has his own YouTube channel. He actually has been involved in something paranormal. He's gonna come out here probably sometime soon. So I'll keep you updated on that. I'll definitely upload the collab, or not really called a collab if it's like real life, but like, you know what I mean. You're probably wondering what the its and the masks are. So those are just the monsters. Some of the monsters that have been harassing us, I guess. They're not dark and they're not fog, but they're definitely nasty little fuckers. I just gave them really simple names. The it's because it's something, and the masks because they have these masks on them, and it was already taken. So one of the it's actually bit me in the leg a while ago, but yeah, I got loose. In the masks, one took Anthony, and there's another one in Baltimore. He hurt Travis. We don't know who Travis is. We didn't contact him. We couldn't find it. Travis Davis, weird name, but he's alive, and he survived something that killed one of our close friends. So we're gonna ask him about, if we can, we're gonna ask him about. Some people asked. I forgot to write down a name for this actually, but a lot of people ask about Bunny. I don't know who Bunny is either. She's just one of my followers, and she seems to either be something paranormal or be involved with something paranormal. Either way, I don't know if I can trust her or not. I followed her back, but I don't know if that's a good idea or not. So, yeah. We also contacted. This gets a bit meta, but that video that I posted a while ago, me and Ronnie, we went into like a coma, Michael said, and we forgot a couple days, and when we woke up, we found the video on my phone. Hermie was there, but Hermie's not there anymore. But the three people that were in the video, we were able to find who they were. Their names in the video were different than they are in real life, with the exception of Julie. But Elias and Rita Bauman, their brother and sister, and their friend Julie. Don't know her last name at this moment. Oh, I actually have it somewhere. Just says Julie. Their Elias is the president of the Junior Paranormal Investigators of America, and then Rita and Julie are his like co-chairs, if you will. So we were able to contact them, and they confirmed that they had found the same video from their perspective on their phones. Just a bit weird because none of them were doing any filming in my version of the video or Ronnie's version of the video, although he said that I also wasn't filming in his version of the video, and he wasn't filming in my version of the video, and they said we weren't filming in their version of the video, so kind of complicated, I guess. Gonna blow through these really quick. The foam and the moldy smell on that one walk. I think that's actually how fog manifests. Fog the monster, not fog the natural phenomenon. Theft, dark fog / the hidden video. Yeah, I still can't see that, so I don't know what you're talking about. I already addressed that. Hans, yes, that fucker. Hans is a Nazi. Let's just get it out of the way right away. He's scum of the earth. Was once suspended for school because he made a hit list and sent it to the Adam Waffen division. Said he was inspired by Andy Ngo, I think that's his name. And he also, his dad got arrested for being the KKK, and when he came to the school the next day, he said that he was also in the KKK and he got suspended. So I hate the kid with all of my passion, and I really hope he's not involved with this situation, because that would just make things a whole lot worse. Although knowing how occulty the Nazis are, this is probably related. Unfortunately, the raccoon. Yes, there was no raccoon. Mira / Sinclair confirmed that. Didn't say what it was, but it was something. Following. Oh, right, that's what I meant by following. Who am I following? Yeah, I'm following quite a few people in similar situations on Twitter. I have not met 90% of them. I would say 90% of them don't know I follow them, but I do follow most of them because I just think it's good to have perspective on similar situations. So, yeah. The dog. Yeah, I'm currently forgetting the dog's name, which is stupid because I've had him for several months now. But yeah, he was the Verns dog. Tony Vern and his parents. But when the Verns were murdered, that police say it was a double suicide, but I think it's not suicide. They pulled a Jeffrey Epstein. They got murdered, and the police called it suicide. But yeah, the Verns. I think Tony actually killed them. Crazy as it sounds, because Tony's been dead for a while now. But they think. Anyway, let's get this straight. The police say that the Verns killed himself because of Tony's death. But they killed him. The birds shut up. But the Verns actually killed themselves 6 months after he died. And additionally, the sole of the shoe that I found was the same sole that the police found at the scene, with the matching footprints that matched his feet. And also, they said that they lost some of the evidence, and I found the shoe, the sole of the shoe at least, in the woods. I have since thrown it out. But yeah, that's what I think happened. I stole the dog. Anonymous phone calls. Yes, I have been receiving those. No, I don't know who they're from. They do not bother me because they're mostly telemarketers and stuff, but some of them are just like people hanging up right away. Oh, right. A while ago, I made a couple posts with like pictures of weird stuff I found, saying someone's trying to scare me. Don't worry about that. I think it's just Sinclair. Well, do worry about that because Sinclair is no good news. The book. Yes, I have found a weird book in the woods. Yes, I think it's Tom's. How it self updates, I have no idea. Holes in the ice. Look that up. It's a natural phenomenon. Don't worry about it. The cistern. Yes, there was a cistern in the woods. I don't know where it went. For all I know, someone could have just dug up the stones, filled up the pit. Don't know. But that's definitely a bit mysterious. My cousin. Yeah, my cousin was in that fake video that was replacing the real video. I don't know what that was, but people probably want to know who my cousin is and if they know about this. No, it's a very distant cousin. His name is Joe Johnson. Well, his name is Johnson, but everyone calls him Joe because Johnson's a stupid first name. He hates it. His last name is actually Beals, as the same as Michael's, but spelled differently. Beals, Beels. Michael's is Beals. Body swap. Yes, me and Sinclair swap bodies. Don't bring it up. I hate the fact that I'm in Sinclair's body. Sinclair is overjoyed that he's in my body because he gets to like torture me by proxy by like doing stuff to it. It's weird. He gets off on weird things. I wrote down Raven, but someone already asked about that. Face. What does that mean? Oh, right. Yeah, no one can see my face. I don't know why. Cameras turn off when I point it at my face. Weird stuff like that. Even when I draw my face myself, I instinctively put black squares over it. I don't know what's causing it. It's kind of driving me insane. Cow blood, yes. Sinclair has been selling cow blood on the dark web. I don't know what he has been doing it for. He claims on his Twitter that he's been doing it for secret documents about interdimensional portals. Fireball. Right, I forgot about that. I saw a fireball in the sky. It was in the news later. That was also just a natural phenomenon. Do I know what the backrooms are? Yes, I do. I've been doing some research on them. But they are related to the pictures that I've been finding, including the one that Michael said was his house. That was pretty funny. But I don't know why I've been getting pictures of the back rooms. I unfortunately think that it's more than just the meme that everyone thinks it is. And also, a garden did no-clip into my front yard, and I do realize that I used the same language, whether I knew it or not at the time, as the back rooms used for turning into our world. A river. Yes, there's a river by my house. Oh, wait, no. Don't call me that. Not yet. City in the Clouds. Yeah, that was pretty weird. Don't know what it was. Seems like a big lipped alligator moment, or non sequitur, if you will. Burnt homes. Yes, I did take a couple pictures of burnt homes in the Hartford area. I think there's been a rise in cult-related arson or something. I thought it was a bit odd, and I definitely think it's related. So, last question before I stop this video and I go to my next thing, which is the video where I share all the objects I found in the shed. Hermie. As much as I hate to bring this up, I think it's relevant, so I will bring it up. Anyway. Oh, where is it?
Filming, Raymond?
Yeah.
Day one of my trek, June 14th. 2019. Haven't seen Dark in a while, so that's something.
That guy just sped by.
Huh?
That guy just sped by, man.
I wish we could have a car like that. Here in London.
I wish. Like,
Oh, we'll meet up with Josh and Raymond and
no, I'm Raymond.
Oh.
Ronnie, man. Ronnie.